This
Hi,
conference
Kashyap.
will
This is
now be
Satish.
recorded.
Hi, Satish.
Are you able to hear my voice? Hi, Kashyap.
Yes, I
Actually, my
can hear
system
you.
having a problem. Okay.
No worries. Would you introduce yourself, Satish?
Yeah,
Tell me
I'm
about
Satish.
your, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, I'm Satish. I'm working in the system admin, one of the MNC company. I work in the Windows plus VM domain. Yes, up now we are introducing the patching tool for SCCM. So that's why I'm joining this course. The basic knowledge I have, like how to deploy the, create the package, deploy the patches, and create the collection. I know the basic ideas I have. I need to
Okay,
know in-depth knowledge for SCM, so that's why I joined this.
okay, very good. Thank you for the introduction. Okay, so my voice is clear to you, everyone?
Yes,
Yes, Kashyap.
Okay,
yes,
guys.
yes.
Huh? Okay, guys, so let's get started. So I am gonna take you through the the SCCM history. So when this product started, so SCCM started in the year 1994, okay, and the name of this product was SMS. So old name of SCCM was SMS, System Management Server. So these are the versions released, earlier versions, and then Microsoft changed the name from SMS to SCCM, System Center Configuration Manager. Microsoft released SCCM 2007, SCCM 2012, SCCM 1511. So 1511 is what? 15 is year and month. 11 is month. So 15 is year and 11 is month. So in 1511 November 2015. These three versions released in February, June, and October in the year 2016. These three versions, February, June, and October in the year 2017. These three versions in the month of February, June, and October in the year 2018. These versions released in the year 2019, February, June, and October. But you see, from October 2020 19, they changed the name again from SCCM to which one? MECM, Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager, guys. So this is the new name, Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager. It is no longer SCCM. It is now MECM, Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager. They have changed that in the year 2019 October. Then they released these versions in the year 2020. Last year they have released these two versions, 2002, 2006, and the latest and greatest version of SCCM is 2010. This is the latest SCCM, not SCCM, this is MECM. MECM, okay, 2020, 2010, okay. So if you calculate, it started from 1994 and till 2020. It's been uh, 25 years, guys. This product is there in the market. So it's a matured product. Thousands and thousands of people have taken this product. Millions of devices are being managed by this product. So you and this is the third largest selling product of Microsoft. The first one is a Windows operating system. The second one is Microsoft Office, and the third one is MECM, okay, or SCCM. Clear? Any question, guys, from anyone? All good?
No, Kashyap.
Okay. You can also put your comment in the chat, in the GoToMeeting chat. I will just send a chat hi message. You can reply on that one so that I'll I'll understand that you guys
What
you
are the
guys do
major
not have any
differences?
question.
What are the major differences between SMS, SCM, and MECM?
Okay, they have from SMS to SCCM, they have changed the architecture, complete architecture. Okay, and from SCCM to MECM, they have not changed the architecture. It's on the same platform, same framework. Architecture is same. The only thing is they have increased the capability and features. Like They have included Windows 10 servicing model. They have included mobile device management. They have included, Intune, more feature and more capability. Got it? Just like upgraded version of um, any product. Understood? Which I will
Mm,
discuss later on. What
okay.
all changes it has. If you would like to know the changes, I will take you through the slide or Microsoft website, which talks about what all things it has added. Okay, but the architecture and framework is same between SCCM and MECM. It's one and the same thing. If you are using two different, let's say SCCM and MECM, it's one console, same thing, same. At the left hand side you have all the navigation section, and at the right hand side you have all the workspace. Same comes in MECM too, but the capability is increased. The feature is added in MECM. More features are there. Okay.
Okay. In terms of features, so what are the major changes? Like we'll discuss
Like
later on. Like,
later
do we
on
have any session? Do we have any
later
session?
on later on we will discuss about it.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, for now you just understand the historical details, that these are the versions released by by Microsoft. Okay, so latest and greatest version is MECM 2010, guys. Now certification was there, but this exam is no more valid. This is expired, so we are waiting for new exam to come. Once the new exam is released, you can take that exam and become MECM certified. Currently, we don't have any exam for MECM. Now Microsoft holds, SCCM holds 43% of market share, guys. 43% is a big number, right? Uh, Almost all big size companies and medium size companies have SCCM. You may not find SCCM in small size companies, but almost all big size and medium size companies have SCCM. So people are uh, needed to work on SCCM profile. So those who are in SCCM profile can get a salary of 45 US dollar per hour in US, Canada, Australia, European countries. So SCCM has good salary package as well. Okay, if you are in India, you can expect a salary of 800,000, 8 lakh per year, Indian rupees. Okay, INR. Sorry, this is average salary, guys. This is not fixed salary. You might be getting more than this, you might be getting less than this, but 8 lakh rupees per year. That's the Indian statistic as per the multiple blog and website. So people are earning somewhere close to 8 lakh rupees. Now, lots of opportunities are there. You have to upload your resume on multiple job portals like Naukri or Monster to start looking for SCCM related opportunities. So that's the job opportunities, guys. It's a third largest selling product of Microsoft. People are needed for this. People need SCCM administrator. So you should not have any problem in terms of opportunities. So it's good in market. Let's go to the next topic. Next slide. That is sites in SCCM. Now let's discuss about the sites in SCCM. There are 3 sites in SCCM: central administration site, okay, then we have primary site, and then we have secondary site. Now these 3 sites are needed based on the how your organization is. Suppose your organization is small, then you go with different architecture. If your small organization is medium size organization, then you go with different architecture. If your organization is big like HCL, Accenture, Deloitte, then you go with another architecture. Okay, so we'll discuss about these things one by one. So let's discuss about central administration site first. What is a central administration site? The first thing, start making a note of it. I hope you guys have a pen and paper. Okay, start making note of it. These points are very important to understand. Now, central administration side. First thing first, it is an optional side, guys. Optional. It is not mandatory. Why? Because it is not mandatory because it is needed only when you have more than one primary site. Okay, it is needed when you have more than one primary site. More than one primary site. It is an optional, guys. It is not mandatory requirement. It is needed only when you have more than one primary site. Clear, everyone?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
It is installed. It is installed on Windows Server. Okay, Windows Server 2012 or greater. So you can install central administration site on 2012 or greater than that, like 2012 R2 or 16 or 19. Okay, got it? I hope you guys are making a note of it, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
I'm gonna erase that one. Point number 4. Point number 4, it needs a database. It needs SQL Server database. SQL Server database to store the data. So suppose you have a central administration side box. This is your central administration side server. It is going to store everything in the database. Got it?
Okay.
Yeah.
So it needs SQL Server database. Okay. Point number 5, it manages primary sites. It manages primary sites. So suppose you have primary site 1 and primary site 2. There are two servers. So it will, central administration site will be sitting on the top of the hierarchy. So primary site 1 and primary site 2 will report to central administration site. Basically, it manages primary sites. Okay. All the primary site what you have in your company will report to central administration site. Okay. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Point number 6, it supports up to 800,000 devices. Sorry, not 800. It supports up to 825,000 devices. Sorry, it supports up to 825,000, 8,25,000 client machines. Okay. Suppose you are running a company, let's say IBM, and IBM has got 825,000 devices. So one central administration site, one CAS will be able to support up to maximum 825,000 devices. Any question? So that's what the central administration site is, guys. So central administration site will be always sitting on the top of the hierarchy. You understand, like this, CAS. And CAS will be there only when you have more than one primary site, guys. Suppose if you have one primary site and CAS will report, the primary site will report to CAS. It is not like that. You must have more than one primary site. So then only CAS is needed. Okay. If only one primary site is there, CAS is not needed. CAS needs database. Okay, cache will save the data in the database. Okay, it manages primary side and 825,000 devices it can support. Any question, guys? Anyone? All good?
So cache stores the data in database, right? So what kind of data it is, like whether it is
Whatever
the
the whatever the data which primary side collects, it is gonna pass on to cache database. What kind of
so
data? Hardware inventory, software inventory of the devices, deployment information, the computer with 2 GB of RAM, computer with the Dell architecture, computer with HP,
Mhm.
monitor size, monitor serial number. It stores all the information about computer. Simple.
Okay, okay, got it.
Then you have primary site, guys. This is the main site in SCCM. Whether you have small size companies or medium size companies or big size company, you have to have primary site. Without primary, you can't manage your devices. Simple as that. Primary is like the heart of SCCM. Central, you may or may not have it, but primary is the one which has to be there. So it is what? It is mandatory. Mandatory site. Okay? Without this, you cannot manage devices. It is needed to manage devices in well-connected network. It is needed to manage devices in well-connected network. SCCM is what? It is a enterprise device management solution. You can control all the devices in your company. Let's say you have thousands and thousands of devices. You can have complete control on those devices. You can target, you can deploy application, you can deploy patches, you can deploy policies, you can restart machines, you can push updates, you can deploy operating system, right? You will have kind of complete control on all the devices what you have, yeah, through SCCM. So it is needed to manage devices in well-connected network. What is well-connected network? That is the computer which are on local LAN network. Okay, suppose you have like 10,000 devices in Mumbai. So the the primary site is there. It is going to manage all these devices, then 10,000 devices, 10,000 client computers, because they are on local LAN network. Okay, if the devices are outside LAN network, let's say the branch office uh, on a different location altogether, then you don't get LAN network. You will have WAN network, a wide area network. Then we need a secondary site for those locations. Got it? Got it? Clear? Hmm?
Yes.
So first thing, it's a mandatory. Then second, it is needed to manage devices in well-connected network. The third one is it stores data in SQL Server database. So you will have, just like central, the primary also needs a database, and it is going to store the data into the database like this. All good? Primary site will collect the information from the client machines, and then it is going to store them into the database. Okay, SQL Server database. Point number 4, it supports, one primary supports up to how much? 175,000 client machines. So one primary site can support up to 171,75,000 client machines. Okay, clear?
Yes.
My voice is clear, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Then point number 7.
Four.
Huh? Point number 4. Okay, sorry.
So not five. Five, not four. Five.
Okay. It sends data to central administration site database. So suppose if you have primary site like this, primary 1, and then you have primary 2, right? Both will have database because primary site needs database, so both will store the data in the database. And you have CAS, central administration site. CAS will also have a database, right? So it is going to pass on the data like this. Got it?
So altogether, CAS, if the architecture is having one CAS and two
Hmm.
primary
Hmm.
sites, so
Hmm.
altogether having only the one database, right? Ultimately.
Ultimately, this is going to be the master database. CAS database will be the master database, but you will have database, primary site database will also be there, right? But the master database is this one, the CAS database, because it
So we
contains
have
all the
to,
information from primary 1 and primary 2.
okay, okay. So for primary site, there should be a definite database, right?
Right. For primary site, there will be a database. For secondary site, sorry, for CAS, there will be a database. Okay. But primary 1 will not have information of primary 2. Similarly,
Okay,
primary 2 will not have information of primary 1, but the CAS will have information about primary 1 and 2 both.
yeah.
Okay. Point number 6, all client machines are assigned to primary site. For example, you have thousands and thousands of client machines. Client machine means what? Suppose Windows 7 or Windows Server machines or uh, Mac computers. You need to install agent in all the machine. You have to install the client SCCM client. In all the machine, SCCM client has to be there. Okay, and they all will be assigned to primary site. The client will be assigned to primary site. The SCCM client. In every machine, you have to install SCCM client. Okay, and they will be assigned to primary site. Got it? Clear or not, guys? Point number 7, it manages secondary site as well. Secondary, just like central was managing primary, similarly primary will manage secondary side. So primary is there and you have secondary side. When do we need secondary side? When you have devices in branch office. Suppose Mumbai is your headquarter, so you put only one primary side in the headquarter. Okay, so in headquarter primary side is there, but in branch offices, let's say Chennai, Hyderabad, Abu Dhabi, right, London, New York. So in branch offices, whatever the branch offices you have, because branch offices are not on the LAN network, they are on WAN network. They are on wide area connection. So it's not good connectivity. So we need secondary side. The secondary side will be there in Mumbai, sorry, in branch office like Chennai, Hyderabad, Dubai, New York, London. Got it? So it manages secondary side. So all the secondary side will report to primary. All secondary will report to primary. Any question?
No.
Point number 8. It collects data from secondary side database. Secondary side also has a database, guys. So you will have primary, let's say primary, and primary has a database. Similarly, you have secondary, and secondary also has a database. Secondary, let's say there are multiple secondary side. Okay. And the database, it is gonna pass on the data to the primary side. Okay. So all the branch offices, you will have secondary side, and branch office, let's say Mumbai is a headquarter, and London, New York is the branch office. The New York and London device information will be passed on to the Mumbai primary side database. Okay. So again, point number 1, we will discuss. It is a mandatory site. It is what? It is a mandatory site. Point number 2, it manages sites on well-connected network. You know, those machines which are on LAN connected, right? Point number 3, it manages secondary sites. It manages secondary site. Point number 4, okay. Um, it has a database. It needs SQL Server database, right? It needs SQL Server database. Point number 5, it collects data from secondary side DB. So secondary database, secondary side database. It collects information from the secondary side database. It manages secondary side as well. Point number 6, it manages up to, it supports up to 175,000 devices, client machines, right? Got it? Clear, guys?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
Kashif.
this is the main site in SCCM, guys. So how we design the architecture? Suppose you have one office, okay? You have like let's say Dell. Dell is your office. Suppose you are the owner of that company. So you put your headquarter, right? Like one headquarter will be only one, right? One headquarter and a branch office. So branch office is in like 10 different locations in multiple region. Okay. So the architecture is like this. You have a headquarter. Where is your headquarter? Let's say NY, New York is your headquarter. Okay. And you have branch offices, guys, 10 different branch offices. Okay. Let's say this one is Mumbai. Okay. This one is London. This one is Chennai. This one is uh, Paris. This is Hyderabad. This is Gurgaon, Delhi, and then Bangalore. Then um, you know, Ahmedabad, and this one is in Pune. So these are the locations. Every location, let's say New York has got 20,000 devices. New York, in New York, you have got 20,000 devices. In Mumbai, you have like 1,000 devices. In London, you have like 5,000 devices, 2,000 devices, 1,000 devices, 200 devices, uh, wo- um, 100 devices, let's say 1,000 devices, and 2,000 devices, 3,000 and 4,000. For example, you have devices in these locations. So we will put one primary site in New York. Okay. So that primary site will be managing all these 20,000 devices because that is in New York on the local LAN network. And for location like other location, we'll install secondary site, the branch office, secondary site. Okay. So those secondary site will be managing these. This secondary site will be managing 1000 devices. This is managing 2000 devices. This is managing 2000 devices, like this. Any question, guys? And this secondary will report back to primary. Secondary will report back to all the secondary will report back to primary. Any question? And primary will have a database, and secondary will also have data. All the secondary will have database. All secondary will have database. Okay, all secondary will have database. So whatever the data secondary will collect, it is gonna pass on here. Okay, it is gonna pass on here. The database, whatever the secondary collects, it's gonna pass on to the primary side database. Sorry, it is little unorganized, but you can understand the concept. Yes, question. What was the question?
How to check classic primary site and secondary site in particular environment? I have worked in some environment, right? How do I identify the what is the primary site, secondary site details?
So you can go to administration in the SCCM console. You will have access to the console, right?
Yes.
You go to administration section.
Okay.
In administration, you have site configuration,
Yes.
and then
Okay.
click on sites. Then it will
Okay.
give you the information about sites, whether you have one primary site or more than one primary site, whether you have central administration site, whether you have secondary site. That is going to give you all the information there. All right.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, got it.
I will also show you in when we install SCCM how to check later on. Fine. So now
Okay. Okay.
the primary site is done, guys. Now the secondary site. Secondary site is an optional site. Why? Because if you don't have branch office, you don't need secondary site. Got it? If all the devices are located in one single location, you don't need secondary site. Or if the devices are on outside network as well, but device number is very less. Let's say the device count is less than 500 in one location. Let's say there is a branch office in Chennai and device count is, let's say, 50 only or 80. So we don't need secondary site there. Got it? So it is an optional site, guys. You may or may not have it. Okay, that's an optional site. This is optional. Just like central, it is also an optional, but primary was the mandatory. Okay, the second one, it is needed. It is needed when you have devices in remote location like branch office, and the count is greater than 500. So for example, Chennai has less than 500 devices in branch office. You don't need secondary site as per Microsoft. Okay, if you have devices in Pune branch office and less than 500, you don't need secondary site. So primary will be managing those devices also. Okay, from headquarter itself. Clear? So first point, it is an optional site, right? The second point, it is needed only when you have devices in branch office and the number count is greater than 500. Then only you need secondary site in that location. Point number 3, it needs database, guys. It also needs database, but this database is little different. I mean, not different. It needs two types of either you go with SQL Express, secondary can use SQL Express or SQL Server. So it supports both of them. Mostly we go with SQL Express. Why? Because it is free of cost. You don't have to make any take any license for this one. It's free of cost. So we go with SQL Express database. Okay. But primary and central, they need this one. Primary and central administration side, they need this one, SQL Server database. But secondary can use Express as well, or you can use this one, anything of your choice. But we go with this one because this one is free. Okay, got it? So the architecture is like this. You have primary side, let's say in headquarter, and the branch office, you have got secondary side, right? So secondary side will also have a database, either SQL Express or SQL Server database, whatever the database you got. And primary also has a SQL Server database. So it is gonna secondary, whatever the secondary collects the information from the branch office, it is gonna pass on to this database. All good?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so
Sorry, that's the point number 3. Point number 4, the secondary side. It cannot exist. It cannot exist without a primary. Suppose without a primary side, make a note of it. Point these point, guys. It cannot exist without. Suppose you don't have primary, can a secondary exist? No. If you don't have central, can a secondary exist? If you don't
no,
have a
but
central administration site, then can a primary exist?
Yes.
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 yes,
But for secondary, you have to have primary. Whether you don't have CAS or you have CAS, that does not matter for secondary. Secondary needs primary, because secondary is like a child of primary. Without parent, can a child exist? No,
No.
right? So if you don't have primary, secondary cannot exist. Okay. Sorry, I'm writing. I lost my pen somewhere. While I was traveling, I'm writing from my finger, guys. So that's the reason it is like bigger in size. So it sends data to primary side database. Got it? So I already informed you. So the primary side also has a database, right? And secondary also has a database, right? So it is gonna pass on the data like this. Okay. Point number 6. Secondary supports up to 15,000 clients. So in a branch office, if you have devices between 500 to 15,000, one secondary site is sufficient to manage the devices in branch office. Okay. Any question?
No. Okay. Okay.
So that is the primary, central, and secondary, guys. Okay. Now the hierarchy, the capability. Now understand this one. One central administration site, okay, can support up to 25 child primary sites. So like you have one CAS, and you can have multiple primary site, primary 1, primary 2, primary 3. It can go up to primary 25. Maximum it can have 25 child primary site. Clear? Maximum. That's the maximum number. Any question, guys, in this one?
No, no.
One central administration site can have 825,000 client computer. I have already discussed about it. That's a maximum capability. One central administration site can have maximum 825,000 devices. Okay, it supports. Then we have primary site. Primary site supports up to 250 secondary site. So one primary site you have, then you how much secondary site it can have? Let's say secondary site 1, secondary site 2, it can go up to secondary site 250. 250 secondary site it can support, primary site. Okay, and similarly it can support 250 distribution point. I'll talk about distribution point later on. And 10 management, I'll talk about this distribution management point later on. For now you just understand the number, and then maximum number of client it can support 175,000. Okay, any question? Client, and this number is a combination of the computer which is there in headquarter and branch office both. It's not just the branch office, sorry, not just the headquarter device 175,000. It's the combination of the headquarter devices and the branch office devices, like the devices in secondary side control, the devices in primary side control, all those devices total it can support 175,000. Got it? Hello, you
Yes,
guys there?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
And one secondary site can have 250 distribution point and one management point. These distribution point and management point we will discuss later on. This is the one which I am discussing now. One secondary can support up to 15,000 client machines. What is client, guys? Client is what? In every computer you will you have to have a client. In every machine, let's say you have Windows 7, Windows 10, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, Windows Server 2008, 8R2, 12, 12R2, 16, 19. You need to install client, a small software which has to be installed in all the machines. So if any machine which has a client, it will be able to report to primary site, and primary site will be able to send policies and patches and everything. But if the device does not have the client, it cannot be managed by primary site or secondary site, whatever it is. Okay, now architecture. Yesterday, uh, these are the architectural diagram for three different um, organizations. So first one is for small size companies. When you don't have branch office, you just have one single location, all the machines are located in that one building, for example, and all are connected on LAN network. So let's say primary site is needed for 50,000 devices is there in Houston. Let's take an example. 50,000 devices are there in Houston in America. So one primary site is going to manage all those 50,000 devices. We don't need secondary, we don't need central. Primary site is sufficient for handling all these devices. Now, second one is the medium size organization. 99% you will find this kind of architecture. You will have, let's say, 50,000 devices in America, Houston, and let's say 5,000 devices in Seattle, and another 5,000 devices in Boston. Okay, so in branch office, there are 10,000 devices connected on WAN network. So we need what? Secondary site, in these two locations, and primary is already there in Houston. Secondary will report to primary like this. Any question? All good, guys?
No. Yes. Yes.
So this one is for a small size companies, right? This one is for medium size companies. Most of the time, you will see this kind of architecture. So, um, Satish, if you have SCCM
Yeah.
console access, you check in your console and see
Okay.
the later on, whenever you get time, you check how many primary and
Okay.
secondary you got. Mostly you will have this one.
Yeah. Also.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, I checked that previously in primary site, but I don't know how to check the secondary site details. Uh,
No, in the
Primary
primary,
PS1 only one site is common.
in the administration,
Okay.
if you go to sites, it will list down the primary and secondary, all of the primary, central, secondary, everything.
Oh.
Okay,
Oh. Okay.
there
Okay.
itself.
Might be only one primary site available in
Yes, maybe
organization.
you only have one primary side, no secondary side. Okay,
Okay.
maybe
Okay.
you have this kind of architecture, a small size company architecture.
Okay.
Now, the third one is for big size organization like Accenture, Deloitte, IBM, Cognizant, HCL. Those companies are having more than 200,000 or 300,000 devices all over the globe. Let's say in America, they have like 200,000 devices. In Europe, they have like 50,000 devices. In Asia Pacific, they have another like 100,000 devices. So if you have big company with big numbers, so we will have more than one primary site. So primary one will be for America region, for example. Primary two in Europe region. Primary three for Asia Pacific region, and both all these three will report to, you may have multiple primary, not only three, this is just for three primary, but you can have like 4, 5, 6 primary sites, and the primary side will report back to central, and you will have secondary side in the branch offices. All right, like this, secondary. So this kind of architecture, when you have more than one primary site, okay, big size organization, and very rare, this kind of architecture is very rare, but you have this one in big companies. Okay,
Okay.
Okay.
another architecture like CAS on the top, primary one and primary two. This is also very rare, but let's say you have 2,000 devices, sorry, 20,000 devices, and another like 10,000 devices. Okay, you see, one primary can support up to how much? 175,000. Then why do we need multiple primary site? Because one primary site can manage 30,000 devices itself, right? One primary can manage 30,000 devices or not, because the maximum capability of a primary site is 175,000 devices. But
Yes.
sometime what happens, the company, they want to keep them, they want to keep the things separate. Let's say this one is ABC company, and they have purchased DEF company. Okay, DEF. Let's say Coca-Cola purchased Thumbs Up, and they want to keep them separate, and both have primary side. So the primary side, Coca-Cola primary side, will be managing all the devices in Coca-Cola, and Thumbs Up primary side will be managing all the devices in Thumbs Up, and both will report to central. Okay, they want to keep them separate, like in two different primary side. They don't want to merge them together. Understood? Clear?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So database replication happens because I mentioned earlier, all the primary, all the sites need a database. The secondary need a database, primary need a database, and central need a database. And the database replication happens how? From downward to upward. So secondary will send the data to primary, and primary will send the data to central. Got it? Any question?
No, Kashif.
Okay, guys, so we'll stop right here. So we will discuss about site roles tomorrow, but I want you guys to go through the article, okay, which gives you more information about sites and site roles. So before we meet tomorrow, I want you, every one of you, to at least go through that article. That's a Microsoft article once, just to get more information. My number is 91 is the country code, 98992354331. I want you guys to send a hi message on WhatsApp. I will create a WhatsApp group for all the people in this training. 98923543331. So can you send me the WhatsApp group right now so that I can create a WhatsApp group and send you the materials there for you to study?
Sure, Kashif. Will do.
Okay, Kashif.
Okay, make a note of my number, guys. Okay, Indra, Karthik, Satish, Vinod, and send me a hi message on this number right now. Okay,
Yeah,
I will
Hmm.
I
Sure,
will
Kashif.
create WhatsApp group for you guys. Any question before we wrap it up?
All good as of now. Yeah.
Okay, guys. Thank you, everyone. I will also, yeah, I also need your email address. Gmail. Make sure you give me your Gmail account so that I will give you my Google Drive access so that you will be able to download the videos from there. So all the
Sure, sure.
session right now, the session is getting recorded. I will upload the video. So send me a hi message and your Gmail account on WhatsApp. Okay.
yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay,
Bye bye.
Kashif.
Bye, guys.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.